Hi, and welcome to Health and Wellness with Susan P. Williams. Today's topic is everything you need to know about Medicaid. Today with Myra Gilcrest, Medicaid Benefits Specialist. Welcome, Myra. Can you tell us a little bit
Hello.
about yourself?
Okay. Well, my name is Myra Gilcrest, and I am a Medicaid specialist. Well, I'm a benefit specialist because I don't just specialize in Medicaid. I also specialize in Social Security, disability, and SSI, but that's a whole other subject. I have more than a 20-year history of a benefit specialist. I worked for two large elder law firms. So I was the elder law paralegal for a large volume specializing in long-term care. So that's my specialty. However, I do also community-based Medicaid as well. And again, 20-year history. And right now I am a benefit specialist for the Department of Public Health. And I also am I won't say this, a notary public as well as an instructor, benefits instructor, personal training. Okay. Hello? We froze. Okay, hello everyone. I'm back on. Hello and welcome. So I'm going to talk about what you need to know about Medicaid. And what I'm going to do is start off first with the difference between, because till this day, people will confuse Medicare and Medicaid. So first I'm going to talk about the differences. So first, both programs were established in 1965. And what confuses people, I'm sure the name sounds similar, Medicare and Medicaid. So Medicaid is managed by the states. So it's from state to state and is jointly funded by the federal and the state governments. Medicare is an insurance program managed by the federal government and is mainly based on age. However, there are under certain circumstances where people that are disabled that are under 65 do qualify for Medicare. And how people qualify is it's funded by participants. So that means people who have worked that paid taxes into the Medicare fund, FICA taxes, once you're disabled or reach age 65, will qualify for Medicare. Now, Medicare pays for medical and rehabilitative services. Medicaid pays for medical, rehabilitative, custodial, and long-term care. So eventually, if you have Medicaid, people will end up on Medicare going into a long-term care facility. Medicaid, sorry. See, I did it myself. Medicaid going into a long-term care facility. Okay.
So, Myra, thank you for that information. That totally is a difference. I know that I too struggle with the fact of what Medicare and Medicaid is. That was a great explanation. I do have a couple of questions. What about Medicaid? What does Medicaid cover in a nursing home and hospital? So say for instance, my grandmother went to the hospital and she was serviced in the emergency room, needed rehab, would she be covered, or is that something that she would experience out of pocket?
It does cover rehabilitative services, and pays for medical, rehabilitative, again, custodial care, and long-term care. So Medicaid would cover her rehabilitative services.
About the application process. I know that that is lengthy and it's tedious. Who would my grandmother, for instance, reach out to get that application processed? And can you tell me what supporting documents she would need in order to apply?
You always, it is a long, tedious process for some people, and it's very time consuming. So you would need, I would recommend a Medicaid specialist like me, or people sometimes go to elder law attorneys, which I also am affiliated with a couple of elder law attorneys. The process, it's documentation. It's based on documentation, based on assets and income. So what you would do is meet with a client and go down the list of verifications you would need. Financial documents, you would need, if anybody owns any property, you would have to provide those documents. You would also, if they're a single person, it's less information. Married, they look at you as one entity. No matter who's going into the nursing home, they look at you as one entity. So you would have to provide the documentation for both you and your spouse, which is financial, income, any assets. And assets include a lot. Assets include what you have access to. So that's bank accounts, that's 401ks, that is, well, IRAs, that is also insurance, life insurance. People don't understand that life insurance, whole life, has cash value. So whatever the current cash value is of those life insurance policies, if the face value is over $1,500, you have to provide the cash value because you have access to those are assets that you have access to. Okay.
Wow.
So it's a
I
lot
didn't
of
realize
information that you have to gather, tax documents, that you have to pull together and then provide them to Mass Health to make the decision that it's, if you are eligible. And
Is there a resource asset limit?
their resource asset limit. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that. So if you're going to a long-term care facility, for a single individual, the asset limit is $2,000. So you can't, if you have over $2,000, you will not qualify. Now, that's for a single person. If you're married, for a couple, it is $128,640 that the spouse can keep in their name. Now, as of January 2021, I was just received notification that the resource limit for a couple has been increased to $130,380. Okay. And again, those countable assets are cash, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. So they can keep those assets. Now, I will also state that your primary, this may be another question though. So I'll go into that later. Okay.
Okay.
So those are the resources. Now, but let me state, if both parties, like I have had a couple, both husband and spouse, going into the nursing home facility. Now, if that does happen, each spouse will only be able to keep $2,000 apiece. Okay, so I just want to make that clear. It's only the spouse at home that can keep those extra resources.
Okay, so I know this is one of the questions that, as an administrator of a nursing home, the first question when we admit clients or our residents is that they want to know, will Medicaid take their property, their home? Will there be a lien placed on their home if they apply for Medicaid?
So and that's a question I get all the time. That's a very common question. So for a married couple, no, if a spouse is still living in a home, okay? So if one spouse goes in and they're a married couple, no. Now single, they will. However, there are exemptions. There are things that exempt them from Medicaid lien in the property. So if you're single and you're living in a home, if you don't meet those exemptions, yes, a lien will be placed on the property once approved for Medicaid. So what happens is Medicaid will request that you make an effort to sell your property. So if I go into the nursing home, I have to prove that my house is on the market and I'm making an effort to sell my property. And, sometimes you don't sell your property right away. So again, they don't put a time limit on it. You just have to prove that it's on the market. And so they'll leave the home. And once that house, your property is sold, they will recover the medical expenses that they paid for you while you were in the facility, depending on how long. So that's basically how.
So I guess my other question is that I heard that there is what they call a Medicaid look back when you file for Medicaid in general. I've had some of my family members say, well, we sold the house 3 years ago. So or we transferred the home to the daughter or the daughter-in-law. How does that work?
There is a 5-year look back period. So if you have transferred any assets outside of your spouse, because assets can be transferred to a spouse, there is no penalty. However, if you've transferred any assets during that 5-year look back period, you will be penalized for qualifying for Medicaid, depending on how much you have given away. And, there's a formula that they do. So if I gave away $50,000 to my daughter within the 5 years, and I looked and I applied for Medicaid. Now there are exemptions. Again, I will talk about exemptions. There are exemptions to those look back periods. So, but if I don't meet any of those exemptions, I will be penalized for giving, and it doesn't mean you don't qualify for Medicaid, it just pushes the date down. So if I wanted Medicaid as of January 1st and I gifted $50,000 5 years ago, within the 5-year look back period, they will do a formula and say, Myra, you qualify for Medicaid, but you don't qualify until 3 months later. That's how that works. So you get penalized for giving away assets. And again, that's property. That's money. Anything that you can turn into cash, changing the ownership of a life insurance policy, that's an asset transfer as well. So, you're penalized unless that person can give back the assets, but that mostly doesn't happen. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. How long? Can you tell me how long it takes for a Medicaid application to be processed?
1 to 3 months. Because the way it works is you gather all the documents you can, and you send in the application. It takes them a caseworker at least 2 weeks to look over that information with their checklist and look through all the bank accounts with that checklist. And then they send you what they need, anything other than what they have to verify, for verifications, basically. And then after that, they give you a month to send that in. So now if you don't send the verifications in within that timeline, you get a denial, because there's always one piece of paperwork that they probably will want that you may not be able to gather. If you don't worry if you don't meet the timeline, because they give you an extra 30 days to send that in. So it can be a long process, because what happens when they look over the information, they will see something, Mass Health will see something in those documents that they will need for verification. And when I do applications, like a benefit specialist will look and try to flag everything. Oh, I need to see this because they're going to request this information. So I try to get all the information as possible to get that application done within 1 to 3 months. Okay. So it is a long process.
All right. So Myra, I know that we just got a question from Darian Williams, and he wanted to know what happens if someone has an applicant has like a retirement pension and an annuity pension. Is that technically?
Oh, pensions. Pensions are income. They're not assets. So that's your income.
Okay.
So what happens with the income if an applicant has income and they're going to a long-term care facility, what happens is once you're approved, part of that income goes towards your contribution to paying for your cost of care. So
Okay.
pensions are assets, pensions are counted as income.
Okay.
Okay.
And then if we just had to take away, because I mean, we could go on and on. Oh, I'm sorry, Amanda, as we're closing up, as Amanda, I'm sorry, as Amanda Lacewell wants to know, do you handle all states? Just wanted to get that question in before we close
Oh,
out.
all states, no. See, since Medicaid is from state to state, it's different rules and regulations. See, Medicaid is governed by state to state. So, I mean, they're similar, but you would have to find a person in your state that's a Medicaid specialist, yes.
Okay. And just to close out the broadcast, Myra, I mean, we could go on and on. I feel like we need another conversation, another broadcast just to go on and ask additional questions. What should our audience take from this broadcast? And how can they get in contact with you?
All right. So let me just see. I did say what you should take away. So again, Medicare and Medicaid sound similar, but they're very different programs. Honestly, you need to seek help when applying for Medicaid, especially long term. There are community-based programs that I didn't get into, like frail elder programs, group adult foster care, and PACE programs that are services for individuals living in the home that need long-term care. So again, you will need Mass Health to pay for those as well. It's almost the same qualifications of living in a long-term care facility, but definitely contact a Medicaid specialist. Now, how to get in touch with me, Myra Gilcrest, and you can reach me at 617-516-7638. And also at the Department of Public Health, you can reach me there too, and that's 617-971-3373. Okay.
Myra, thank you so much for all of this information. Thank you for the difference of Medicare, Medicaid. I've been in the field for over 20 years, and I swear I don't know everything as far as Medicare, Medicaid.
It's a lot.
There's so much. It's so much. So I feel like we may need to kind of bring you back in and go over a couple of things. So we're going to ask that we invite you back. And we want to thank everyone who joined us for Back to Home Healthcare, Health and Wellness with Myra Gilcrest. Please reach out to Myra. You can find her on Facebook as well. You could go to Back to Home Healthcare. She is one of our resource specialists that we refer her services out. And we have been working as a preferred partner together. So Myra, thank you so kindly, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. All righty.
Elizabeth, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.